Character is everywhere. It's something that we're all hugely interested in. How do we define, how do we conceptualize character is being something that has been a great debate for thousands of years. I think the discussion's so good, I'll try and keep this to 5 minutes so we've got plenty of time for conversation between Zoltan and I and questions coming in. So I'll just keep it to 5 because some of the questions we covered anyway. But I just, you asked me particularly to talk about what kind of character education in universities might look like. And we've developed something called a kind of character education universities, a framework for flourishing, because as you alluded to, and I made this point at a big teaching and learning event at my own university today, where I was making this point that we spend so much of our time focusing on knowledge and skill development, but actually if you look at any survey, employers quite often put, they don't always call it character, but these sorts of kind of social emotional character qualities as one of the things that they're most interested in. Clearly they for specialist jobs, you know, they do need people with skills to be kind of doctors, nurses, teachers, etc. I'm not dismissing that, you know, kind of skills and knowledge in those areas are important, but it's how you apply those skills in, you know, in that context, in that environment, that is so important. And it's often your character qualities that make that happen. So we want kind of good doctors, as in kind of good doctors who know what to do, but good doctors who are very good in terms of their kind of bedside manner and the way that they actually you know, carry out their practice, likewise a lot of the other professions as well. So we think there has been, to some extent, an absence of a focus on character in university settings, and likewise in schools. You said that our government's actually placing a much more focus on character education in the UK because they've really noticed that, because the curriculum in some way has narrowed, and actually good education is really good character education as well, because that underpins all the things we want out of schools, like attainment, like good behaviour, etc., etc. So framework flourishing you can find on the Jubilee Centre website, gives an overview of that. I've said a lot of these things, but we talk about the cultivation of character integral to the purpose of the university. We think it's core to it. That good higher education is good character education, equips, you know, that, you know, I don't think you can have good higher education without a focus on it, as I've already mentioned. And I talked about contributing to societal flourishing, and therefore it can't simply be the private concern of the student, because a lot of universities are set up as civic universities, universities that are designed, quite a lot of them take public funding, etc., who are designed to really help kind of contribute to societies more broadly. But again, some of this is just summary from what I've said. Students, as I say, should be free to critically decide how they pursue their character development. This shouldn't be a top-down indoctrinating type scenario. And the focus that you can see in that bullet point, I think, is really in the second bullet point, which is so important, is on the development of, again, an Aristotelian term, phronesis, but quite commonly translated these days as practical wisdom. And practical wisdom really is about the free, independent, autonomous decision about how about which is the right quality to put in place at the right time. We talked about different situations and different settings, different contexts. We're constantly having to make decisions. It's not like that. Quite often these qualities clash with each other. You know, should we be honest with someone, or should we be loyal to our friend, etc.? And it's about deciding, you know, which is the right quality to put in place. So that focus on phronesis or practical wisdom, that's applied character, knowing what's the right thing to do at the right place. And when you're younger, you're probably more likely to be kind of told how to behave, or more instructed in these areas. As you get to kind of secondary school and university level, that's about cultivation of wisdom. It's not about, you know, boundaries. It's about, you know, hopefully, you know, learning through experience, through getting things right, getting things wrong, good mentoring, reflection, etc., to develop that. And universities can place focus on that. I talked about being culturally responsive earlier, you know, not possession of a single philosophical transition, but emphasized across different cultures. And the hope is that university culture really prioritizes this, that, you know, when you go to a university, you understand that the university is about, you know, teaching you these skills and knowledge, but is also about cultivation of qualities that's going to help you individually, but also is society-wide. And I'll just finish by saying here's an example of 7 practices that have been, some of them being tested more than others, that have come out in a recent paper by Michael Lamb and others, but they've been testing these in a number of different settings, including at Oxford University, where they have quite a well-known character leadership program there. And these are the sorts of strategies that they look at. So that first one, as I said, is it's about experiential learning. This isn't about learning character theoretically. It's about actually getting out and doing and learning about ourselves in those sorts of environments, but coupled with reflection. So it's the idea of kind of service learning, same sort of approach. You don't just go out and kind of serve, you actually learn through that service by kind of educational structures around you, helping you to reflect on them. Engagement with kind of exemplars, and these aren't just exemplars who are the great and the good, the Gandhis, the Nelson Mandelas of the world. That's great, but actually they're exemplars around us. They're often the most powerful ones, our peers, our friends, other people. Dialogue, which increases what we call virtue literacy. That's the knowledge and understanding of the importance of kind of character in your daily lives and how it actually looks and how you might apply it. Conversation about these sorts of variables. We've talked about Steve Jobs a little bit. He faced all sorts of situational variables. He would have been talking to different people at different times, for different purposes and reasons. And and it's about knowing how to apply the right sorts of quality in those situations. Coming back to kind of the practical wisdom idea, they've looked at moral reminders that making norms salient. There's some interesting work going on around the idea of nudge theory to try and not actually kind of tell us what to do, but kind of remind us in our daily lives about these sorts of things. The jury's a bit out on how that's actually working. And finally, kind of friendship is a very big kind of theme. Essentially, character is relational. It's about how we behave alongside other people, and friendship in its broadest sense, and kind of a shared responsibility, shared accountability is really what binds people together and emphasizes character at the heart of them. So those sorts of strategies and practices, the more that they can be inculcated into a university or higher education setting, we think the more likely that students will develop the sorts of qualities that we think are desirable.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this snippet, then be sure to check out the full video. The link is in the description, and be sure to follow us on social media too. Thank you.